Hey guys, ANY here, and this is another episode I am going to ramble about something completely not pony related. Even so, it's a relative to the ponies. I am going to talk about one of the other original shows that the Hub produced when they started out. I am going to talk a little bit about the show called Dan Vs. It is an amazing show, I just want to say this up front. I personally love it. I just came into contact with it not long ago and I marathoned through all the 3 seasons that are out so far. So, what makes the show so great? The best point to start out are the characters. We basically have the 3 main characters. The first one, being the title character, being Dan, is this angry little man who lives in his very own perspective of the world, in which everything he does is correct and everybody else is stupid, and he's pretty much the center of the cosmos and only his opinion counts, and he is a typical egocentric jerk you gonna love to hate. I mean, he's such a jerk, he has even jerk written on his shirt. The next character is his best childhood friend, Chris. He's a tall guy, loves to eat, is not necessarily the smartest guy, and he has some kind of really crazy loyalty. Dan can pretty much command him around, ask him to assist him on a crime spree, but Chris somehow goes along with everything, even so he knows what's wrong. Even so, Chris is pretty much the moral compass all the time, but he doesn't really act on his understanding of the world. He just goes along with Dan and is always like, we shouldn't do this, and Dan is like, shut up! And they do it anyways. And yeah, Chris is in my eyes actually the least interesting character of the 3 main characters, but he is a support character. He is, the guy who always assists, and he is often enough the butt of the jokes. And then the third character is Elise. She is Chris's beautiful wife, who also, this is not really a spoiler since it is revealed rather early on, she is some kind of secret agent, ninja, whatever. She is super with electronics and whatnot. So she's pretty much the most capable of the whole group and the most intelligent. And of course she hates Dan because, he is a hate-worthy jerk, and she cannot really stand the fact that Chris always hangs out with him. But then again, there are episodes in which she comes along and helps Dan or tries to do damage control. Really, the setup for the episodes are all very diverse, which is kind of interesting considering that pretty much every episode follows the same course of action. It starts out with Dan getting angry about something and then punching his fists into the air and screaming the name of whatever he is angry about. I mean, just check the episode list, and the episodes are pretty much always named after his current opponent. Like New Mexico's a state, he has a vendetta against the whole state. A ninja, a family trip, Lisa's parents, I don't know. He really, pretty much something happens he does not like, even so it is a very small thing, like just a cancelled appointment or something, and he declares vendetta on it and wants revenge. And the crazy thing is, even so he really goes after absolutely ridiculous stuff, like, as I already mentioned, a whole state, a lot of stuff that does not make sense to have a vendetta against, and often is not really true. He just sees things and goes after them anyways and drags Chris along and everything. But often enough, it turns out that even though he was wrong from the very beginning, he kind of was right in a convoluted way, and it turns out that there actually was something going on, and it's like, what? And you find yourself often enough voting for Dan, even so he is such an unlikable jerk. And you really start to loving him for his randomness. So it is all presented in a really funny way. It is a really funny series, and a lot of the fun comes from the dynamic between those 3 main characters and their interaction with the world around them. As I said earlier, at the moment there are 3 seasons of the series, but even though the 4th season is not yet in production or anything, it is officially only on hiatus. Of course, a hiatus can turn into a slow death and lead to cancellation of the show after all, but for right now the producer stated rather explicitly that the show is not yet cancelled but only on hiatus, so fingers are crossed that there will be more Dan Versus, because especially throughout, I believe, already the 2nd and definitively the third season, there are 3 or 4 hints towards something big, some big revelation that might happen and that the writers might have in mind. And I am pretty sure I'm not just seeing things. There are lines that do not add up to something in the current episode, and that are presented with the character being in a close-up and being like, huh, what did you just say? And they get never addressed, but you see the way they are scripted that there is some kind of deeper meaning. And I'm pretty sure to have figured out what this meaning is hinted towards. And if this revelation should be the one I'm suspecting, oh, this will be amazing and I can't wait to see it. I want to keep this all spoiler free, so if you have seen all 3 seasons, feel free to post me somewhere in a not public area what you think, what I think, what the revelation is, and then I can be like, hey dude, I saw it as well, or I can be like, oh my god, are you an idiot? Just kidding. This is AnYPony saying see you soon. And watch Dan vs.